Have you ever wondered how our ancestors managed to catch fish without hooks, lines, or nets? The story of freshwater fishing stretches back to the dawn of human civilization, a remarkable testament to human ingenuity and survival instinct. Picture yourself standing on a riverbank thousands of years ago, armed with nothing but your wit and primitive tools, facing the challenge of catching elusive fish swimming beneath the surface. The history of freshwater fishing is a fascinating journey of innovation and adaptation. Our early ancestors developed incredibly creative methods to catch fish, methods that would lay the groundwork for modern fishing techniques. They learned to read water patterns, understand fish behavior, and create tools from natural materials found in their environment. Some of these ancient techniques were so effective that they persist to this day in various parts of the world. In remote regions of the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes still practice traditional fishing methods passed down through countless generations. In parts of Asia, particularly China and Japan, traditional cormorant fishing continues to captivate both locals and visitors. These age-old techniques have survived not merely as cultural curiosities, but as practical and sustainable fishing methods that remain effective in their specific environments. The persistence of certain ancient fishing techniques, while others faded into obscurity, tells us a fascinating story about human adaptation and environmental sustainability. The techniques that survived often shared common characteristics. They were simple yet effective, required readily available materials, and could be easily taught to new generations. Moreover, these methods often had minimal impact on fish populations, allowing for sustainable harvesting over thousands of years. Understanding these ancient fishing methods gives us valuable insights into human resourcefulness and our relationship with aquatic ecosystems. It reminds us that before the advent of modern technology, our ancestors developed sophisticated knowledge of fish behavior, seasonal patterns, and ecosystem dynamics. This knowledge wasn't just about survival, it was about developing a deep connection with the natural world. Before we dive deeper into this incredible fishing journey, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more content about the evolution of human survival techniques. Join us as we explore how our ancestors' ingenuity shaped the way we fish today and continue to influence modern fishing practices around the world. Freshwater fishing emerged as a vital human activity over 40,000 years ago, marking a crucial turning point in human development. Archaeological evidence found in East Timor and other parts of Southeast Asia reveals fish bones and primitive fishing tools, suggesting that our ancestors quickly recognized the potential of rivers and lakes as reliable food sources. These early fishing practices would eventually reshape human society in profound and lasting ways. The story begins with simple hand gathering in shallow waters, where our ancestors would wade into streams to catch slow-moving fish or collect stranded fish in seasonal pools. This basic method, while seemingly primitive, required intimate knowledge of fish behavior and water patterns. As humans gained experience, they began to understand the seasonal movements of fish, their breeding patterns, and the best times for harvesting. This growing understanding of aquatic ecosystems led to increasingly sophisticated fishing methods. Early humans discovered that fish could be trapped in natural pools during low tide or seasonal water level changes. This observation likely inspired the development of artificial pools and basic fish traps, representing one of humanity's first steps toward actively managing their food resources, rather than simply gathering what nature provided. The evolution of fishing techniques paralleled the development of tool-making abilities. As humans learned to craft better tools, fishing methods became more efficient. The discovery that certain plants could be woven into baskets led to the creation of the first fishing traps. The development of stone tools enabled the crafting of more sophisticated spears and harpoons for fishing. Perhaps most significantly, the reliable food source provided by freshwater fishing allowed human communities to establish permanent settlements near rivers and lakes. This shift from nomadic hunting and gathering to more settled lifestyles marked a fundamental change in human society. The great civilizations of ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley all developed along major river systems, where fishing played a crucial role in their economy and culture. The abundance of fish in rivers and lakes not only provided a stable food source, but also led to the development of food preservation techniques. Early societies learned to dry, smoke, and salt fish, enabling them to store food for leaner times and eventually leading to trade with other communities. This preservation and trade of fish products became one of the earliest forms of commerce, contributing to the development of complex societies. Fishing also fostered the development of early technologies and crafts. The need for fishing tools led to advances in woodworking, weaving, and toolmaking. The construction of boats and rafts for fishing expeditions represented major technological achievements that would later facilitate trade and exploration. These technological advances, born from the needs of fishing communities, would have far-reaching effects on human civilization. The impact of freshwater fishing on human society extended beyond mere sustenance. It influenced religious beliefs, cultural practices, and social organization. Many early societies developed rituals and beliefs centered around fishing, and the activity often played a central role in their mythology and religious practices. The sharing of fishing grounds and the coordination of fishing activities required social organization and cooperation, helping to establish some of the earliest forms of community governance. This historical context helps us understand how a simple survival activity gradually evolved into a complex practice that shaped human civilization. From the basic act of catching fish by hand to the development of sophisticated fishing techniques, the story of freshwater fishing mirrors the broader narrative of human progress, innovation, and adaptation. Picture a young fisher standing at the riverbank 10,000 years ago as the first rays of dawn pierce through the morning mist. His name might have been lost to history, but his daily experiences and observations helped shape the future of human civilization. Like countless others of his time, he was not merely a fisher but a keeper of knowledge, an innovator, and a crucial link in his community's survival chain. Each morning, before the sun rose, this young fisher would make his way to the river, carrying tools crafted from materials gathered from the surrounding environment. His feet would follow paths worn smooth by generations before him, each step guided by knowledge passed down through careful observation and oral tradition. The cool morning air would carry the sounds of the awakening river, splashing fish, calling birds, and the gentle flow of water over rocks. As he watched the river, his trained eyes could spot subtle signs that modern anglers might miss. The rippling of water over hidden fish, the way certain birds behaved when fish were abundant, even the types of insects hovering over specific parts of the river. All these were vital clues that helped him understand where and when to fish. This intimate knowledge of the ecosystem wasn't just skill, it was an art form refined over generations. The young fisher wasn't working in isolation. Around him, other members of his community would be engaged in their own specialized roles. Elderly members of the tribe, repositories of generations of fishing wisdom, would teach younger members about the seasonal patterns of fish migration, the best materials for making tools, and the sacred relationships between the people and the river. Women often played crucial roles in processing and preserving the catch, developing techniques that would sustain their communities through leaner times. Children would learn by watching and helping, starting with simple tasks like gathering materials for nets or traps. They would gradually take on more complex responsibilities as they grew older, ensuring the continuation of these vital skills. This apprenticeship system was the backbone of knowledge transmission in ancient fishing communities. The fisher's day wasn't just about catching fish. It was about maintaining tools, teaching others, and contributing to the community's collective knowledge. When he discovered a new fishing spot or developed a more effective technique, this information would be shared with the tribe, often becoming part of their oral tradition. These teachings would be passed down through generations, often encoded in stories, songs, and ceremonies that preserved crucial survival information. As the day progressed, our young fisher would work alongside others, coordinating their efforts for maximum efficiency. Some would use spears in the shallows, while others might set traps in deeper waters. This cooperation wasn't just practical, it strengthened social bonds and reinforced the community's interdependence. The evening would bring the community together to process the day's catch, repair tools, and share stories. These gatherings were crucial for maintaining social cohesion and passing down knowledge. The young fisher might listen to elders discuss how fishing patterns had changed over their lifetimes, or share his own observations about new fish behaviors he had noticed. These ancient fishers were also early environmentalists, understanding instinctively that their survival depended on maintaining healthy fish populations. They developed sustainable fishing practices, often incorporating them into their spiritual beliefs and cultural taboos. They knew which fish to take and which to leave, when to fish and when to let the river rest. The legacy of these ancient fishers lives on in modern fishing communities around the world. Their careful observations and innovations laid the groundwork for our understanding of aquatic ecosystems, sustainable resource management, and the delicate balance between human needs and environmental preservation. Through their stories, we can better appreciate how our ancestors not only survived but thrived through their deep connection to the waters that sustain them. The evolution of fishing technology represents one of humanity's most ingenious chapters in survival innovation. The development of early fishing traps and tools marked a revolutionary shift from opportunistic gathering to strategic hunting, fundamentally changing how humans interacted with aquatic environments. Stone fishing weirs were among the earliest and most impressive technological developments in fishing history. These ingenious structures, some of which still exist today, consisted of carefully arranged stone walls built in V or circular formations in rivers and tidal areas. As water flowed through these structures, fish would be naturally guided into increasingly narrow channels, eventually leading them into shallow areas where they could be easily captured. These stone traps demonstrated an advanced understanding of both fish behavior and water dynamics, requiring considerable engineering skill to construct and maintain. The invention of woven basket traps marked another significant advancement in fishing technology. Using local materials such as reeds, bamboo, or flexible branches, ancient fishers created intricate basket-like structures with a crucial design feature: a funnel-shaped entrance that made it easy for fish to swim in, but difficult to find their way out. These traps, known as fish weirs or fish crawls in different parts of the world, could be left unattended and checked periodically, allowing fishers to engage in other activities while their traps worked for them. The development of specialized spears and harpoons represented a major leap forward in fishing technology. Early versions were simple sharpened sticks, but they quickly evolved into more sophisticated tools with detachable heads and multiple prongs. The invention of the toggle-head harpoon was particularly revolutionary. This clever device would turn sideways under the fish's skin after penetration, making it much harder for large fish to escape. These weapons required not only skilled craftsmanship to create, but also considerable skill to use effectively. Perhaps the most transformative innovation was the fishing hook. The earliest hooks were crafted from bones, shells, thorns, and wood, demonstrating remarkable ingenuity in working with available materials. These early hooks evolved from simple curved pieces to more sophisticated designs with barbs to prevent fish from escaping. The development of fishing hooks led to the creation of fishing lines made from plant fibers, animal sinew, or human hair, allowing fishers to catch fish in deeper waters than ever before. The creation of nets marked another crucial advancement. Starting with simple handheld scoop nets, ancient fishers gradually developed larger and more complex designs. The invention of knotting techniques and the discovery of materials suitable for net making enabled the creation of seine nets, cast nets, and drift nets, dramatically increasing fishing efficiency and the ability to catch multiple fish at once. Tool-making techniques continued to evolve, with the discovery of copper and later bronze leading to more durable and effective fishing implements. Metal hooks could be made smaller and stronger than their organic predecessors, while metal spear points and harpoon heads lasted longer and penetrated more effectively. These technological advancements weren't just about catching fish more efficiently. They also led to innovations in fish processing and preservation. The need to store fish led to the development of smoking techniques, salt preservation, and drying methods, many of which are still used today. The creation of storage containers and preservation facilities represented another significant technological challenge that ancient societies successfully overcame. The boats and watercraft developed for fishing purposes also showcase remarkable technological innovation. From simple reed rafts to dugout canoes, and eventually more complex wooden vessels, each advancement in watercraft technology opened up new fishing opportunities and expanded the range of fishing grounds accessible to ancient communities. These technological advancements in fishing not only improved human survival chances, but also contributed to broader technological development in ancient societies. The skills and knowledge gained through developing fishing technology often transferred to other areas of life, from tool-making to construction techniques, helping to drive overall human progress and innovation. What about you? Do you know any traditional fishing techniques that have been passed down through generations? Share your knowledge in the comments below. Whether it's a unique method from your local culture or a family fishing secret, we'd love to hear about the fishing traditions that have stood the test of time. The ancient fishers faced formidable challenges that required remarkable ingenuity and adaptability to overcome. Each obstacle they encountered led to innovative solutions that would shape fishing practices for millennia to come. Let's explore these challenges and the creative solutions they inspired. One of the most significant challenges ancient fishers faced was dealing with seasonal river flooding. During flood seasons, familiar fishing grounds would transform completely, making traditional fishing methods ineffective. Our ancestors developed several ingenious solutions to this challenge. They learned to create elevated fishing platforms that could be used during high water periods. Some communities developed floating fishing stations using reed rafts or wooden structures that could rise and fall with water levels. In flood conditions, they also discovered that fish often sought shelter in flooded forests and grasslands. This led to the development of specialized techniques for fishing in submerged vegetation, including unique trap designs that could be anchored to trees and retrieved even in high water. Some societies even learned to predict flooding patterns by observing natural indicators, allowing them to prepare and adapt their fishing strategies in advance. Perhaps the most crucial challenge was preserving their catch without modern refrigeration. This challenge led to multiple preservation techniques that we still use today. Smoking fish over slow-burning fires was one of the earliest solutions, with different woods being used to impart various flavors while preserving the meat. The smoke not only helped preserve the fish, but also acted as an insect repellent. Salt preservation became another crucial innovation. Coastal communities learned to use sea salt, while inland groups often traded for it or found natural salt deposits. They discovered that different salting methods, dry salting, wet brining, and combination techniques, worked better for different types of fish and different storage durations. Sun-drying techniques were developed in areas with appropriate climates. This required careful observation of weather patterns and the development of raised drying racks to protect the fish from animals and ground moisture. Some communities created wind-drying techniques, using natural air currents to dry fish while protecting them from direct sunlight. Ancient fishers had to contend with extreme weather conditions and seasonal changes. During winter months in colder regions, they developed ice fishing techniques, learning to cut holes in frozen waters and create shelters for fishing in extreme cold. In tropical regions, they had to deal with monsoon seasons and develop methods to predict and adapt to these dramatic weather changes. Another significant challenge was competition from natural predators. Bears, birds, and other predators would often try to steal fish from traps or fishing grounds. Ancient fishers developed various solutions, including creating predator-proof traps and establishing fishing territories that could be more easily defended. The creation and maintenance of fishing tools presented ongoing challenges. Materials for making tools weren't always readily available, and some required significant processing before use. Communities had to develop systems for sourcing materials, processing them, and maintaining tools. They learned which woods were best for specific purposes, how to treat fibers for maximum strength, and how to repair damaged equipment with limited resources. Water safety was a constant concern, particularly when fishing in deeper waters or strong currents. Communities developed various safety practices, including the use of primitive flotation devices and techniques for reading water conditions. They also had to develop methods for navigation and marking good fishing spots without modern tools. Perhaps most impressively, ancient fishers faced the challenge of maintaining sustainable fish populations. Through careful observation and generational knowledge, they developed complex systems of resource management. Many communities instituted fishing taboos during spawning seasons, rotated fishing grounds to prevent overfishing, and maintained strict rules about which fish could be caught and when. The organization of fishing activities within communities presented its own challenges. Societies had to develop systems for fairly distributing fishing rights, sharing catches, and teaching new generations. This led to the development of complex social structures and cultural practices around fishing activities. Moving fresh fish from fishing grounds to settlements was another significant challenge. Communities developed carrying techniques using woven baskets lined with large leaves to keep fish fresh. Some groups discovered that certain plants could be used to extend the freshness of fish during transport. Each of these challenges forced our ancestors to innovate, leading to solutions that often had applications beyond fishing. Their responses to these challenges demonstrate the remarkable adaptability of human societies and their ability to turn obstacles into opportunities for advancement. Many of their solutions continue to influence modern fishing practices, proving the enduring value of their innovations. The fishing techniques developed by our ancestors continue to shape modern fishing practices in remarkable ways. When we examine contemporary fishing equipment, we can clearly trace their origins back to ancient methods that prove their effectiveness over thousands of years. For instance, modern fish traps still employ the same fundamental principle used in ancient woven basket traps, creating a wide entrance that narrows into a confined space, making it difficult for fish to find their way out. This ingenious design, known as the funnel principle, remains virtually unchanged in today's commercial fishing operations. The ancient practice of using natural fiber nets has evolved into today's sophisticated nylon and synthetic mesh networks, but the basic concept of creating a mesh barrier to catch fish remains unchanged. Similarly, the traditional method of using floating devices to mark fishing spots and hold nets in place has been refined into modern buoy systems, though the core principle persists. Our ancestors' understanding of fish behavior and migration patterns continues to influence modern fishing strategies. They recognize that fish tend to follow specific routes and gather in particular areas during different seasons, knowledge that modern fishermen still rely upon, albeit now enhanced by sophisticated sonar and GPS technology. The ancient practice of reading water patterns, understanding current flows, and identifying prime fishing spots based on environmental indicators remains crucial even in today's high-tech fishing industry. Traditional spearfishing techniques have evolved into modern spear guns and harpoons, maintaining the direct and precise approach to catching fish that our forebears developed. The basic design of fish hooks, though now mass-produced in metal, still follows the curved shape first crafted from bone and thorns thousands of years ago. Even modern lure designs often mimic the natural bait presentations that ancient fishermen discovered through careful observation of fish feeding habits. The practice of fishing at specific times of day, particularly dawn and dusk, was well understood by our ancestors and remains standard practice today. Their method of using multiple fishing techniques simultaneously, combining traps, nets, and hooks, is reflected in modern commercial fishing operations that employ various catching methods to maximize efficiency. Perhaps most importantly, the sustainable fishing practices of many ancient cultures, who understood the importance of not depleting fish populations, are being increasingly recognized and reintegrated into modern fishing regulations and conservation efforts. Their traditional knowledge of maintaining fish stocks through seasonal fishing and selective harvesting offers valuable lessons for contemporary resource management. Through this remarkable continuity of knowledge and practice, we can see how ancient fishing wisdom continues to influence and inform modern techniques, demonstrating that while technology has advanced, the fundamental principles of successful fishing remain largely unchanged from those discovered by our ancestors thousands of years ago. In the fascinating world of traditional fishing methods, indigenous peoples developed remarkable techniques that showcase their deep understanding of nature's intricate relationships. One of the most intriguing practices was the use of natural fish poisons, known as ichthyotoxins. The Amazon's indigenous tribes, for instance, discovered that the rotenone compound found in plants like timbo and barbasco could temporarily stun fish without making them unsafe for human consumption. This sophisticated method involved crushing specific plant roots and releasing their extracts into small streams or pools, causing fish to float to the surface where they could be easily collected. The genius of this method lies in the fact that the toxins naturally break down in the human digestive system, leaving no harmful effects. Even more remarkable was the traditional knowledge of bird behavior as a reliable fish-finding method. Coastal and riverine communities worldwide developed an intricate understanding of the relationship between seabirds, shorebirds, and fish movements. They noticed that birds like cormorants, pelicans, and ospreys would gather and exhibit specific flight patterns when large schools of fish were present. Some communities in the Pacific Islands could even predict the arrival of specific fish species by observing particular bird species' behavior patterns and flight directions. The indigenous peoples of North America's Great Lakes region mastered the art of reading diving ducks' behavior to locate schools of fish during spawning seasons. They observed that certain duck species would congregate in specific areas, diving repeatedly, indicating the presence of fish schools below. This knowledge was particularly valuable during seasons when fish were less visible from the surface. In coastal regions, traditional fishermen learned that following frigate birds often led them to productive fishing grounds, as these birds have an exceptional ability to spot fish from great heights. They also discovered that when seabirds suddenly changed their flying patterns or began diving frantically, it often indicated that predatory fish were driving smaller fish to the surface. A perfect opportunity for fishing. Some Polynesian navigators could locate specific islands by observing the morning and evening flight patterns of seabirds, knowing that these birds would travel predictable distances from their nesting grounds to fishing areas. This same principle helped them locate productive fishing grounds at specific distances from shore. The relationship between birds and fish was so well understood that many traditional communities developed specific terms and classifications for different bird behaviors and what they indicated about fish presence, species, and movement patterns. This knowledge was passed down through generations, often encoded in traditional songs, stories, and practices that helped preserve this valuable information. Perhaps most fascinating is how these traditional observation methods have been validated by modern science, which has confirmed the strong correlations between bird behavior and fish presence. Today, even some commercial fishing operations still rely on bird observation as a supplementary method to their modern fish-finding technology, proving that this ancient knowledge remains relevant in contemporary fishing practices. These examples of traditional ecological knowledge demonstrate how our ancestors developed sophisticated understanding of natural ecosystems, creating sustainable and effective fishing methods that worked in harmony with nature's patterns rather than against them. The remarkable journey from hand-gathering to today's sophisticated fishing methods represents far more than just technological advancement. It tells the story of human ingenuity, adaptation, and community building. Throughout history, freshwater fishing has been a powerful force in shaping human civilization, influencing everything from settlement patterns to cultural practices and technological innovation. This evolution reflects humanity's extraordinary ability to observe, learn, and adapt. What began as simple hand collection along riverbanks transformed into an intricate web of techniques and technologies, each building upon the knowledge of previous generations. These developments weren't merely about improving catch rates. They fundamentally transformed how communities lived, worked, and thrived together. The impact of fishing innovations extends far beyond the practical aspects of food procurement. These advancements fostered the development of complex social structures, as communities needed to organize themselves to make the most of their fishing resources. Trading networks emerged, cultural practices evolved, and entire societies structured their calendars around fishing seasons and migrations. Modern fishing methods, while considerably more sophisticated, still carry the DNA of ancient techniques. Today's advanced sonar equipment, while seemingly far removed from traditional methods, serves the same fundamental purpose as the careful observation of bird behavior did for our ancestors. Contemporary net designs, though made with synthetic materials, still incorporate principles discovered thousands of years ago. Perhaps most importantly, this historical journey teaches us valuable lessons about sustainability and resource management. Many ancient fishing communities understood the delicate balance required to maintain healthy fish populations, developing sophisticated systems of seasonal fishing and resource sharing that we're only now beginning to fully appreciate and implement in modern conservation efforts. As we look to the future of fishing, we find ourselves returning to many of the principles our ancestors understood intuitively. The emphasis on sustainable practices, the importance of understanding ecological systems, and the recognition that fishing is about more than just catching fish. It's about maintaining a balanced relationship with our natural resources. Looking back at this extraordinary journey from primitive fishing methods to today's advanced techniques, we can appreciate how each innovation, each discovery, and each adaptation has contributed to our current understanding and practices. It's a testament to human creativity, perseverance, and our ability to build upon the wisdom of previous generations. If you found this fascinating journey through fishing history as captivating as we have, don't forget to show your support by hitting that like button and sharing this video with your fellow fishing enthusiasts. Subscribe to our channel to join us on more explorations of how our ancestors developed the techniques we still use today. Stay tuned for more incredible stories about human ingenuity and survival skills that have shaped our world. By understanding our past, we can better appreciate our present and prepare for our future in this ancient yet ever-evolving practice of fishing. Don't miss out on our upcoming episodes featuring more in-depth looks at specific traditional fishing techniques and their modern applications.